Today we're taking a look at the Cougar CFV235 mid-tower chassis. It features Cougar's central floating ventilation design, support for up to EATX motherboards including back connect, and comes with pre-installed ARGB PWM fans straight out of the box. On paper there's plenty of cooling potential too, with support for up to 9 fans and 360mm radiators, along with clearance for graphics cards up to 430mm in length. As always, we'll be checking out build quality, ease of installation, thermal performance and overall value to see if the CFV235 is worth considering for your next build. So this is the Cougar CFV235. It is available to purchase in the UK and other areas now. Although it isn't easy to find in the UK, you can get it from Amazon and it's priced about £150. That's about it really. There are a few on eBay though that are a little cheaper. You might be able to pick it up on somewhere like eBay for around about £115. This is the regular version. It also comes in a CFV235 Vision with an LCD, but we're just looking at the regular version in this review. It features a unique floating chamber design that creates separation between the power supply cabin and the main chamber to enhance airflow and gives the case a distinctive look. In terms of its size, for a mid-tower, it's reasonably compact. It's not the smallest ATX mid-tower available, but it is quite compact with dimensions of 235 by 493 by 460mm, and it's constructed predominantly of steel for the chassis, some plastic and tempered glass. You would think that with this separation and this floating top chamber that it could be quite flexible, but it is built from 1.5mm thick framework, so this is actually really sturdy. Even when you take off all the glass and the outer panels, that top floating chamber is really sturdy, so that's good to see. In terms of I/O connectivity, it's down here at the bottom on the side of the case, so ideally this case is suited for having up on a desk or a work surface rather than having on the floor. And on the front I/O there's a USB 3.2 Gen 2x2 Type-C port, 2 USB 3.0 Type-A ports, a 4-pole combined headset audio jack. The reset button is repurposed for changing through different RGB settings, and there's also the power button there too. So let's take a look inside this case and how you get inside. So the top panel removes first. Push that out from the top. It's just on some quick release pegs. You can see this top panel is quite a heavily ventilated top panel, perforated steel. There's no additional dust filter, so if you need to use this as an intake, which isn't very likely, the ultrafine mesh also acts as a dust filter. Then the side panels can be removed, so these are also quick release. It's tool free completely for removing the side and top panels. You just push it out from the back, and again they're just held on quick release peg. There is a mild tint to this side panel. The right hand side panel removes in the same way too, so quick release, push it out from the back and then it just lifts out, and you can see it is more or less a plain steel side panel. There's no sound dampening material on there, and there is a vent here for the fans alongside the motherboard tray. Again, there's no additional dust filter, so that is ultrafine mesh. That does act as the dust filter too. The front glass can also be removed. There's just a couple of screws, top and bottom. Remove those screws and then that panel removes quite simply. This little panel at the front here can be removed too, and then there's a couple of screws down at the front there. Take those screws out, and then the whole side panel on the power supply shroud, that can be removed also if you need access into the power supply area. So in terms of cooling support, you've got some fans pre-installed. So there's the 240 Unity fan there, Cougar's own fan. So it's a single frame fan with 220mm fans inset into the housing. That comes pre-installed, and that's a reverse blade type fan as an intake. So that's pulling cool air in from the side. You also get a 120mm ARGB rear fan included too, and that's working as an exhaust, so it's installed to the case as an exhaust, so blowing out hot air from the system. There's no support on the side 4 radiators. Potentially at the rear you could install 120mm radiators. It doesn't support 140mm fan installation, but up at the top there's space up there for either 3 120 or 3 140mm fans, or up to a 360mm radiator. As you can see, there's a 360 AIO installed in there. Potentially you could install a 280 or a 240 or even a 120 radiator in there. And then there's some additional fan mounts on the floor of this top floating chamber. On there you can install 3 120mm fans. They don't come included though, which is a shame because that could have added benefit, I'm sure, to cooling potential, having some fans installed in there. That's something we'll look at later during thermal performance testing. As well as the RGB fans, there's also an RGB lighting strip that runs around the front and the side of the chassis. That's actually an accessory that's included separately. You have to install that yourself. It just fits into this recess on the bottom of this top floating chamber, and it just holds in there magnetically, and then you can connect it up to RGB on the motherboard or to the included PWM RGB hub. So plenty of options there for cooling. If you want to run a CPU air cooler in here, it supports CPU air coolers or tower coolers up to 175mm tall. Motherboard support is good in here too. It supports up to EATX, so that includes EATX, standard ATX, micro ATX, and mini ITX motherboards, and that also includes back connect, so reverse connector motherboards that have all the connections on the rear side. Then for graphics card support, as you can see, you can install big graphics cards in here. It will support a graphics card up to 430mm in length, and you've got 7 PCIe slots, so there's plenty of space between a decent thick graphics card and the bottom of the case there. So if you do want to install fans, you shouldn't run into any issues with restrictions or compatibility between bottom fans and a thick graphics card. Looking at the rear of the case, there's quite a large ventilated section, so at the top and the 120mm fan mount, and below that is a mesh opening. Here is the rear cutout for the motherboard I/O. Then you've got 7 PCIe slots below that, and the power supply mount at the bottom for ATX power supplies. The power supply actually installs from the side, or the right hand side, and then it's screwed into the rear panel. And then the right hand side, unlike the left hand side of the case, it is a single chamber here, so that obviously gives it some support and rigidity for the floating chamber at the other side. There is a PWM and ARGB fan hub included with the case. It's a 6-port, so you can install 6 fans or 6 RGB components, connect them up to that hub and control everything either with the control button on the side panel, or you can hold that side panel button in and it will synchronize with the motherboard. It does connect up to a standard 3-pin 5V ARGB header also. Because it supports reverse connector or back connect motherboards, plenty of space in this side for running cables and managing cables. With back connect cases, you do need a bit extra depth in this right hand side to allow for connectors connected to the back of the motherboard, so that obviously increases the space for cable management. Cougar's added a central cable management channel here with some Velcro straps, so you can run the majority of the cables up there, and it's really easy to make that look neat. You can see at the side of that is the 240mm fan mount. If you wanted, you could swap that Unity fan out and put your own 120mm fans in there, but the fans that come with it run reasonably quiet, so there's no real reason to change that unless you have some theme with other fans in the system that you want to stick to. There's also space for cable management, so the EPS power cables can run up the back of the case here. There are some Velcro straps here. These actually come out through the back of the case, so you can use them to tie the EPS cables to and make those look tidy. And you can also use these to neaten up the outer cables that connect into the rear of the motherboard. So nice cable management inside and outside of the case. Power supply type is ATX, and you can install a power supply up to 200mm, so there's space for up to 200mm power supplies and plenty of space in there for cable. And you can see this Seasonic Focus GX1000, that fits in there, absolutely no worries, and there's plenty of space down here to manage cables. Then storage, so up behind the motherboard tray here, there's a panel for 2 2.5-inch drives. A thumb screw holds that in place, and then that just lifts out quite easily. You can install on here two 2.5-inch SSD drives, and then attached to the bottom of the case, so the floor of the power supply shroud area, is another drive cage. In there, it's got a quick release tray that pulls out. On that tray, you can install either a 3.5 or a 2.5-inch drive, and there's also mounts on the top of this cage for either a 3.5 or 2.5-inch drive. You can remove that cage completely too. There's a couple of screws in the floor of the case, and that pulls out, so if you need extra space for cable management or whatever else you want to put in there, that does remove completely if you need it to. Then just a quick look at the floor of the case, because there isn't much to talk about at all here really. It is a very flat and solid floor. The power supply fan draws air in through the top, so there's a vent on top of the power supply shroud, no vent on the bottom, so you can't pull in air to the power supply from the bottom. The only other thing really worth mentioning on the floor of the case are these 4 rubber feet, and they are literally just rubber blocks stuck to the bottom of the case. There's no actual feet, just those rubber blocks, so it is really low to the surface. And here are the screws that you need to remove if you want to take the hard drive cage out completely. There's just 2 screws to remove, and then you should be able to just slide that out. Comes out really easily also, and if you lift the case up, you can see that gives you more space for routing cables or sticking something else under there if you need to. In terms of accessories included with the case, you get the user manual, bit of a guide there for the installation process. You get a few zip ties, only about 5 or 6 zip ties for cable management. You don't really need any more than that to make a decent job of the cables and making those look tidy, because you've got those Velcro straps in there too. Then you get a bag with all the installation screws in there. It also includes the screws needed for installing fans on the floor of the case, and there's a couple of little foam pads there, which I guess is for the integrated GPU anti-sag bracket. The other accessories are obviously the ARGB light bar that runs around there, and you also get this plastic cover which just slots in on top of the power supply shroud there to make that look a little prettier, and it also puts a extra dust filter on top of there too. So that's the key features of the CFV235. There will also be a written page over at kitguru.net where you can check out the specifications, key features, the performance charts, and our testing methodology. So let's have a look now at thermal performance and noise. In our thermal testing, the Cougar CFV235 delivered fairly consistent thermal results across different configurations. With the default setup, the system recorded 53 degrees C over ambient on the CPU and 49 degrees C on the GPU. Taking off the mesh top panel produced similar behaviour, with the CPU reaching 53 degrees C and the GPU at 49, so the mesh isn't too restrictive. Removing the glass side panel had little effect on CPU or GPU thermals at 52 degrees C and 48 degrees C respectively, but adding bottom intake fans reduced GPU temperature further to 46 degrees C over ambient, while CPU temperature largely remained the same at 52 degrees C. Overall, the results suggest the case's stock airflow configuration is already reasonably well balanced, but there are minor GPU thermal gains to be had from adding bottom intake airflow. Like thermals, the noise testing shows only a minor difference between configurations under load. In the default configuration, the maximum load noise measured 52 decibels, which dropped to 49 decibels when bottom intake fans were installed, showing the cooler GPU temperatures reduced fan speed. At idle, the system remained consistent across all configurations at around 36 to 37 decibels. Overall, this suggests the additional bottom fans help reduce system noise slightly under load, while panel removal has only a small impact on acoustics. So thermal performance out of the box probably isn't optimal. Adding fans on the floor is a good idea. It certainly helps to improve GPU temperatures a little, and will give you a little bit more performance out of your graphics card if it's running cooler. Build quality wise, no issues at all with this case. All the panels align well, and as I say, even with the side panels removed, this floating section is really solid. So the build quality wise, nothing to complain about at all. In terms of the build process, it's a really easy case to build into. You've got plenty of space, everything aligns perfectly, like motherboard standoffs, fan mounts, and the PCIe slots. So nothing in terms of the build process to complain about, just a couple of little minor things like it would be an improvement if the top radiator bracket was removable. It'd allow a bit more access to the top of the motherboard. The GPU anti-sag bracket that's built into the case, you have potentially got to watch out for any side mounted motherboard components, so USB 3 headers that are horizontally mounted can interfere a little with that mount. It just missed it. And the rubber grommet covering the main cutout down the side of the motherboard, it comes detached really easily, so passing cables through or doing anything near that does detach it, so that can be a little annoying. But overall, build process inside the case is really easy, really simple, and there's loads of space for cable management too, so it's really easy to make a nice and neat looking build inside the case. So it is a case I'd recommend this. We don't see a lot of Cougar cases, and usually they're quite budget basic cases, but this one has quite surprised me with the unique looks with this floating top chamber. There's no real flex to the chassis, which is a surprise. There's good hardware support, including motherboards up to EATX. The only thing worth mentioning with EATX motherboards is it does partially block that cable cutout at the side of the motherboard tray, and you would have to remove the GPU anti-sag bracket if you're using an EATX motherboard. But other than that, good hardware support, big graphics cards, plenty of space for cooling, additional fans can be installed on the floor, 360mm radiators, and reasonably tall air coolers can be installed inside the case. And you've also got the PWM ARGB hub included with 6 ports on, so that should cover enough for all the fans you'll want to install. And here it can support up to 9 fans, but obviously you can link fans together usually, so 6 ports should be enough. The only minor things with the case, the thermal performance out of the box can be improved by adding floor fans, especially it will improve graphics card temperature. I think every ATX format style case like this with a top radiator mount should have a removable bracket there. It just makes more sense, and it gives you so much more space, access at the top of the motherboard. And then the only other real minor issue that I have is that grommet that comes dislodged very easily. Other than those minor issues, this is a really nice case. It's maybe for a budget brand like Cougar a little expensive at £150, but if you shop around and look in other places other than Amazon, you may be able to pick it up a little cheaper. So that's the Cougar CFV235. Let me know what you think of this case in the YouTube comment section. If you've enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe to Kit Guru if you're not already a subscriber. If you want to help support us, you can always head over to our store and pick up some of our merch, or you could even subscribe to our Patreon. We're also on TikTok, so check us out over there. And if you want to check out all the other technical reviews, head over to our website.